Okay, here we go.
I heard that. This
Let me start up a
this
screen
thing
here.
is recorded. Okay.
Share.
I guess the reason for the light turnout is the bad weather.
Yeah, well, not that bad today. Oh, there we go. Okay, well, howdy y'all. Just a few sort of informational things to begin with. As of today, we have 32 active members. That's paid up members, and the treasury is about $15,000. Most of it in the Woodfair Shore Forest, I think, bank, and 2,700 PayPal. Last week, I sent in a donation to the Andaman Island VU4AX, the expedition coming up in March, of $250. And we got lots of money to spend, guys, so suggest something else. Um, and just a couple of quick things here. Next month, to be an eyeball lunch again, somewhere around the greater Houston area. And then in April, we've got a special Zoom meeting featuring Carl Lichtenschwab, K9LA, which presented on solid state power amplifiers. That ought to be a good one. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the program if you're ready. If you're ready, Keith.
Okay. I had to find your window. Okay. Okay, let's take
Yeah,
shit.
I'll go ahead and
Okay, yours is still sharing, so I can't share it yet.
all right, stop share. There we go. There. Okay.
Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I think this is the window I want. Okay, you see that?
You betcha.
Okay, so the tower is a uh, Universal Tower Model 1550. It's a 50-foot freestanding aluminum tower with hinge base. It'll hold a 15 square foot antenna, and which is basically a tri-bander, and has a thrust bearing on top and a rotator shelf. So what happened is I started out with a Rome HBX, I guess, is a 56 footer, and I bought off a guy from. He was taking it down for a friend of his. He took it down, and I went and picked it up in East Texas, and it's basically eight-foot sections. So I picked them up and paid him, I think, $400, something like that. He said I wouldn't do it for that again. So anyway, I had it for a long time and finally decided, okay, I'm gonna put it up. So I got the
You had a few large antennas before, didn't you? Large
what?
towers. You had a few large towers before.
No, I just have that 150 footer,
Okay.
and I bought another one that I've not put up. But it's 320 feet, but if I do put it up, it'd be two 160s. Anyway,
Wow.
that's 55G Rome. Anyway, while they were sitting over there rusting, or not rusting, but just kind of growing in with the scenery, I decided I need something simpler. So my days of climbing towers over. So anyway, I got this rolling out and I dusted it off and used the power washer and I got the hardware for it. And before I got serious with it though, I went to Hamvention last year and I saw Tim Duffy. I told him what I was going to do. I asked him if he had the hinge base. He says, "Don't put that Roan up." He says, "I've got a much better tower." So he got me to meet with his guys. They sold me on this Universal Tower, and the price for everything with the tower and the mast and the bearing, and the shelf and everything was about 2,500. So, and the whole tower only weighs, I think I want to say it weighs maybe 150 pounds. It's
Wow.
very light. Anyway, so I went ahead and pressure washed the room, painted over it with Rust-Oleum, and sold it. So anyway, let me go to some pictures here. You probably can't. Let's see. Get rid of this. I have to share this other screen. How do I do that?
I don't know that.
Huh?
I don't know how to do that.
I've got the picture showing me. How do I share it?
I'll unshare this one and share the new one.
Okay, let me see. Well, I get back to it. Get too many windows up. Stop sharing. There we go. And share again. Yeah, I can't share two windows at a time. I'm gonna go through the photos now and then I'll come back to the other
Okay.
thing. This is the way it came on a RTL, right? 18 wheeler. And
And that's 50 feet.
the guy actually unloaded this by hand.
Uh,
And everybody see that okay?
yeah.
So you can see all of the sections are together. Plus, there's a mast in there with it. And over here at the side are the legs for the base. And the hardware package inside. And the rotator package, I mean, the rotator shelf and the thrust bearing came in a separate shipment. Let's see if I can, there's just another view of it. There's where the thrust bearing goes.
Hmm.
There's the hardware pack. This is the foot. Then I read up on the documentation, called for a 5 by 5 by 5 hole. So I got a guy who had a backhoe come and dig the hole. And then I hired another company to come pour the concrete and stuff. So they're the ones that they put the rebar in there and set the legs, and they did a good job. And this is just a shot of the. I have one of these uh, polyphaser lightning protectors for just regular wires, not coax. This is actually a rotator control. RCT is rotator. Okay, here's it. After they poured the concrete, I bolted the bottom section on and then assembled the rest of the tower. The other side of it. There's the whole thing, 50 feet. And then after that, I ran some, this is not in very good order. You can see down here some cables. I got another, just, there's the coax coming down. I'm using, by the way, I'm using uh, LDF, the Andrew hardline, 1/2 inch. And I bought this from DX Engineering. This thing clamps on the leg and grounds the connector.
Hmm.
That's the rotator control. I bought some connectors. They say for automotive use, but they're waterproof, So I got that in. There's the top. This is the mast that came with it, and there's the holder for the antenna. There's the thrust bearing installed. There's the top of the hard drive. You can see the thing I bought from DX Engineering better. So I've got the hard line running along it, and then at the top I've got where you can hook into the antenna. I got talked into using hardline by Frank, LPL. Everybody know Frank, WCLPL, Frank Donovan. He says, you're wasting your time with regular coax. This stuff is permanent.
Hmm.
There's the rotator. I've got a Yaesu, and there's the connector that I bought. I wired the connector to the controller. It comes around, plugs in, that runs on down to the bottom. And that's the thing to pull it up with. By the way, I bought some polycord, 1,000 pound, figuring that'd be enough. It broke. So I went back, I got some 10,000 pound
Wow.
to pull it up with. This is the polycord I bought. It just broke, and the tower didn't get up 3 feet and it broke. Put some, this is my barn. I've got to pull it, pull it this about waist height. And then I got another one up the top here. This is about 16 feet or 18 feet. So the line comes from the bottom up to the top and then out to the tower. I was going to get a winch and use it, but I just use my mower. I've got there's the bottom pulley and the top pulley, and the the line will come out here, and I'll tie it to my mower and just pull it up with my mower. I've got one of those zero turn mower, weighs 3,000 pounds. I know, really. And that's the long shot where I look. This is my barn behind me, where the pulleys are. There's the golf cart, and there's the tower going toward the house. So what I'll do is I'll pull it up to about 15 feet or something, get a ladder and put the tri-bander on there and then pull it on up. Oh, by the way, there's a piece of that hard line, and there's this is the kind of connector I use. It says L4. Anyway, it's Andrew, and that's the connector there. And I read the instructions. It takes about 30 minutes to put that thing on by hand, or you can pay $300 and get this thing, which I did obviously, and it takes about 10 seconds. You run that and it strips everything off the coax, and then you run that to clean it out. You're done. In fact, that's yeah, that's anyway. That's the bottom end is after the tools run against it. I'm gonna close this out, and I've got an actual thing back here.
You made it, Alan.
Yeah, I forgot all about it. Sorry.
But these
My
are
mistake.
okay. This is the let's see.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me go back here. It's not pulling me up, but is my camera not showing?
Yeah, it was showing.
Okay. Anyway, this is the connector. By the way, new, that's $45 for that connector. One connector, $45. But you ever heard of Main Trading Company?
Sure.
Well, I told him I was looking for some hardline connectors. He says, I just made a deal. I bought like 500 of these connectors. They're all Andrew, and they were, I got them for like real cheap. So I bought like 20 of them, paid
Oh,
10 bucks a piece. But these are end connectors on the end. And
Hold
it
up a
just,
little higher. There you
in,
go.
and that goes like that. And there's an O-ring there. And inside this thing, this is just a demo. Inside this thing, there's a spring. Oop.
last time I tried to buy connectors for LMR 600, they were very expensive.
Yeah, there's,
They were like over $100 a piece.
yeah, I used to have some. Anyway, then you got this, and it comes off. And so you're looking at
You
$45.
need to hold it up higher. There
Anyway,
you go.
there's this is the result of using the tool. Then you put this on first, and you put this on. They say you don't need any. They say you don't need any. Let me put this down here. They say you don't need any e-sealer, but I may wrap them anyway. And this little spring goes on the first notch here, and then this got another little ring. This 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 center conductor goes right in there, and you put them together. Get a couple of crescent wrenches, and you're set. So anyway, that's the way I'm installing it. And I bought 20 of these. I think I paid him $10 a piece, and they're brand spanking new. And they were, what they were he got a deal on them because they stopped using this size coax on cell phones a long time ago, and all kinds of microwave stuff. So they went to the big stuff. So you'll find a lot of this cable at Hamfest, and you'll find some of these connectors, like quarter of the price. By the way, all this is brand spanking uh, uh, hardline. I got it for 60 cents a foot, or 1,000 foot. That's my story. Well, Alan didn't get to see the pictures of them.
Can you repeat it, please?
What?
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, let me find them.
It's recorded.
I know. I know.
Well, let me finish this. Okay, the thrust bearing. Let's see, got it. Dug the hole. Hired me in to dig the hole. Or a commercial construction company. They charged me $900 total. The guy dug the hole charged me 400, and they charged me 900 to pour the concrete and to set the form and everything. Worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
And after I got it put up, assemble it, install the thrust bearing, install the mass rotor, got the connectors, and so forth. Anyway, it's ready to go up. I'm just waiting for warmer weather.
Yep. Same here. Get my rotator replaced.
The rotator is going up is a Yaesu 1000, and it went bad. I sent it to the Yaesu, and for some ridiculous fee, like $50, they fixed it.
$50.
It says bad, so it's like brand new.
I've got a G2800 sitting out in the garage waiting to go up.
That would have cost a little bit more to fix that. By the
Well,
way, after
luckily I all I had to do is buy the rotator part and not the control box because I already have the green heron rotator.
that helps a lot.
Yeah,
I
it's a lot cheaper.
I bought that 1,000-pound paracord and it snapped. So I bought some 10,000-pound synthetic line. It's blue, and boy, that stuff, if it breaks, we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really raised it yet, but after I raise it, I'll make sure everything works fine. Then I'll put it back down, put the tri-bander on it, run the rest of the cables, and that's it. Let me go back to the photos though. Let's see if I can everybody see that?
See
Yeah.
you.
Okay, maybe if I open the other one, it'll show it. Can you see that?
Nope.
Okay, let me stop sharing then. I can't get back to this. How about
Oh,
now?
we're getting closer. There we go.
Okay, that was a shot. Let me go back. There was the towers that came from off the 18-wheeler. By the way, I heard it was light. The guy that driving the trailer, driving the 18-wheeler, he took this off by hand and set it there. I said, "You got to be kidding!"
Aluminum.
I got my tractor out, and he lifted up and I put it on the tractor and pulled it out.
How tall?
50 feet. the whole thing weighs the whole thing weighs 150 pounds, but the legs alone weigh at least that much. Anyway, there's a hole in the. They didn't say you need rebar, but the company that installed it did put rebar. That's a polyphaser. It'll be in where the control cable comes in. There's a tower, and
Looks familiar.
then over here uh, the hard lines run down here, and also the rotator cable. There's a rotator cable. There's the hard line. I bought these from DX Engineering. They clamp right onto the leg, and you can put a mount, barrel.
I got one just the same, exact same thing.
So there's the top. This is a Force 12 Easy On. I mean, that's the DX Engineering rotor dust bearing. There's the top of the coax, and there's the Yaesu and the connectors that I bought to hook it up. These are, I got these off Amazon. They're for automotive use, and they're 6 cables. So the 2800. And this is the thing I'm going to use to hook the tow line up to hold it up. That's the cord that busted. This is lower pulley, upper pulley. This is my barn. So the lawnmower will pull here, and it'll go up through this pulley here and pull the tower up.
Yeah, I wish I had something like that for my 18HT.
Anyway, I designed this whole thing myself, and I think it's going to eventually work. That's it, Alan.
Looks great. Good luck.
I'm having fun.
I remember doing tower projects here too. They're always a lot of fun.
Would you put up your first page?
Do what?
Your text file, the first page.
Oh, back to 7.
Your first slide.
Hang on. That one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember making those lists.
It's better when you do it and then come in and make the note. Because I had to do that because I didn't have a list to go with. I just kind of went as
Mm-hmm.
as I thought of it, had it done. I went ahead and prepared the
Did you have a concrete truck come and just pour the concrete?
That was the guy that was doing the concrete. Says, he said, I may not be able to get the concrete back here. We may have to wheelbarrow it in. I showed him a place though that I had a hedge that was cut off, and it had some roots still stuck up. He says, "Oh, I can take care of that." He got he had a bobcat with a front end. He just raked all those roots out. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. He took care of my roots. They were old Yopon roots, and I'd cut them off, and I was waiting for them to rot out, and he just dug them all up. Those bobcats are great.
I remember in my first tower, I went to a rental place and they had a mini concrete plant there and 1 yard trailers.
Yeah, I was thinking
And
that.
for $99 a yard plus whatever the rental was for the trailer, I had two guys, Polinsky and another guy, go over there, and we bought 2 yards at a time and poured it in ourselves.
Been there, done that.
And the second tower, where Doug was there with me, I hired a company called Concrete on Demand. And it wasn't your typical concrete truck. It was a square truck.
Huh.
And they mixed the concrete at whatever strength you wanted right there on the truck. And then they poured it in the hole.
That was really slick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that when you want a swimming pool done. They have to just use that gunite. They use that kind of mixer thing.
Hmm.
They also use it up in the high altitudes. I got a brother-in-law who used to do concrete work up near Lake Almanor in California, which is
Hmm.
we're near Chester. He knew the concrete guy. The guy would come out there and mix his concrete exactly the way he wanted. Anyway, that's it, Doug. Any,
Okay, well, there's
any questions?
Wake up, Chris.
a test coming up.
By the way, I got my comports working.
What'd
How'd
you
you
do?
do?
I eventually, and if people don't know, uh, I suddenly was not able to get N1MM and Logic to select existing COM ports that did show up on the device manager, and also WSJT could select them and still work just fine. So I finally was directed to this guy named, his nickname is TV Bob, N6 TV.
N6 TV.
That motherfucker knows
Yeah,
his shit.
he knows Concourse.
And he logged into my computer and he started checking drivers. And he says, "Oh, that's the problem. Oh, that's the problem. That's it."
You have to delete it and reinstall
He
it.
had to delete all these drivers, rename all this stuff, do all these things, go to the registry, blah, 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 blah. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Bob,
I must have talked to half a dozen IT guys. They had no clue.
Bob is the expert.
He knew his shit. And he was in there. I mean, we spent about 2 hours,
Hmm.
but he fixed this. He fixed all kinds of things. He looked at, oh man, you got to get rid of that. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, change this, change that, rename, all these things. And I mean, it's like, you know, um, so he got it all working. Everything's all working again.
That's great.
And apparently I had a free 60-day, um, offer, for some driver update software. He says that's what did it. That driver update software. So we got that
Nothing's
free.
free.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
that's
did you back up that disk? Did you image it?
I haven't yet, but I will. I'm gonna do a complete backup on everything the way it is. But yeah, he got it all fixed.
Wow. TV Bob.
TV Bob, man, that I know now. I know who to call.
He does this gratis?
No, no. Well, he does, but he asked for a tip,
Yeah.
and I sent him a tip, and it was a decent tip. I mean, he saved me hours and hours of. I mean, nobody else could figure it out.
It sounds
So
like okay, so obscure that you probably would never figure it out.
I would have no, I would have never figured it out, and nobody I called, and like I said, I called 3 or 4 IT guys, and they didn't have a clue.
Hmm.
I met TV Bob at Hamvention about 8 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Every year he's one of the professors there.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
always,
I was even watching his video on USB COM ports.
yeah, he talks about computers the whole time. So he's the expert.
That's the man.
And he used to be or still is affiliated with Electcraft for some.
Oh yeah, he's a K4 expert, K3 and K4 expert too. I mean, there's a Elecraft, IO, uh, IO list for K4, and also Elecraft reflectors and stuff like that. He's always answering questions and telling people what to do. And I've looked at several of his PowerPoint slides and presentations and things like that. It's like that guy knows it. So, and he knows what the latest he must be, tied directly connected with Elecraft because he knows the latest shit coming out too.
What's your shirt say? Ready to ride what?
This is a shirt for the Sugarland. What's the name of the baseball team, Doug?
Oh, the
Space Cowboy.
Space Cowboys or something.
Space Cowboys. So this is a T-shirt. There's their logo right there. So it's Sugarland Space Cowboys. That's what this T-shirt is.
Okay.
We used to go to the games.
So
I,
Ryan
I don't know who picked that silly name, Space Cowboys, but I guess it's better than the previous name, Skeeters.
You should have called them the Space Cadets.
So anyhow, I'm back up and running.
Very good.
For today.
You got the right.
I'm making cues right now as we speak.
I hate that. I
With
don't.
that hated FT8. Yeah.
I hate FT8. I hate it, hate it, hate it.
I do not use computer for any kind of contact, period.
Yeah. Well, I've worked a number of new countries on FT8 and
Well, I take it back. I can hit the F key.
yeah.
But the reason I use the F key is the guy says, "You're lazy." I said, "No, I'm poor on the key." I mean, 25 is the absolute limit on my speed on the key.
Yeah.
I could start making so many errors that they're all 8 bits at a time.
Well, it's funny because I can go for a while and I can send easily 30 or 30 plus words a minute, have a conversation, and then something will affect my concentration, and then I can't stand worth a crap for a couple of minutes, and then I can get back into it and I'm all right.
One time I got to 30, but there was too many errors that cropped in. I said, "The hell with this. Let's put the function key."
I think my top conversational speed that I ever hit was about 35, and I can contest at 40, but I can't do that. I can't do 35 conversationally anymore. Can't send that fast. And I can't understand it. I can't follow it. So.
Now you're ahead of me.
Well, but you know what? There's guys out there that run circles around me too. So
when I get in a contest to CW, I'm limiting myself to 25 because anything higher, I make too many errors. Either I make errors with my finger or with my key or something.
mm-hmm.
You know what I get a kick out of is you go to these contests and you have guys that are sending their calls and everything at 35, 40 words a minute. So you match their speed, they can copy it.
Sometimes.
So I usually set my speed to 28. 28 seems to be a happy medium.
Well, when I do CWTs, I usually start at about 35, and by the time I'm at the end, I might be at 37, 38, sometimes 40. And the thing about the CWTs is that, first of all, most of the time it's all the same guys, and you got the call history files. And as long as you can recognize their call, all the rest of the information is populated.
Built out for you.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy. Now sprints, that's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Well, good meeting.
But
yeah,
and
by the way, I've got a 2-element step IR I was going to pull up on the top of that tower.
Mm-hmm.
And I got talked out of that and put my Force 12 C3 up.
Well, the step IRs, they require maintenance. I think it would have outperformed. Well, I don't know what it was, but step IRs, they outperform standard beams when they're working, which is most of the time, but they require more maintenance.
But the step IR, the nice thing about it is you can work any band.
Any band, any frequency.
Yeah.
That's right. Now it takes time to go from one frequency to the next or one band to the next. It takes time. And you always have a good SWR. And if you have a optimizer, the newest controller, you can actually adjust your gain versus your bandwidth or versus your spread. So you can optimize it for a narrow pattern or a wide pattern. You can
Would
optimize
that
it
work on
for,
my vertical?
well, not doesn't quite work for the vertical, but you can always have a one or close to one SWR,
True.
you know, close to it.
You you got a big IR?
Yeah.
I've got a Force 12 280 Sigma Ultra. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's a full size 80 meter 2 element.
Oh my goodness.
And it makes in the air, if you draw a line around it, it makes a quarter acre.
Wow.
So, what tower are you going to put that on?
Roan 55.
Do you have that up now?
No, but the guy that's supposed to put it up, he never showed up. It's to be 160 feet.
Well,
And I was going to get the guy that makes the ring rotors, the good ones, the ones that who is it? Demontron has. But I haven't spent the money, and the hell with it. I'm too old now. So it's still, by the way, it's still in the original crate. It's 8 feet long and a 4x4.
yeah,
That's a
I believe
big
it.
that's a big carton.
Yeah,
And,
Wow.
and the elements are actually aluminum tower sections.
yeah.
Big trusses.
So somebody said, when are you going to get that antenna emphasis? I think it's too late.
Well, if I can get a hold of Mark, WB5ANN, I'm hoping to get him over here on March 1st, on Saturday, March 1st, to help me put my rotator in.
He's still climbing?
Oh, yeah, man, that guy's climbing. Absolutely.
He's good.
He's my go-to guy right now.
March
So,
1st. Huh?
yeah, so I haven't got a hold of him yet. I sent him a text a little while ago. I'll probably give him a call on the phone tomorrow.
He's a nice guy.
Yep. And so yeah, I need to get the rotator fixed, and on my stepper, the only thing holding me up right now is I think I have some bad connections in a little terminal box up on the boom. Uh, I had to put new cable from the top to the bottom. So I got that all wired in, but I got a couple of open circuits showing. And right now I'm going to assume it's just a connector, or maybe when I strip back the wire and put it in and tighten down on it, I tighten down on the insulation. So I'm hoping that's what it is. If it's anything else, I'm in big ass trouble again. Be just my luck though.
Yeah.
This is 2024 has been a shitty luck, crappy year for me when it comes to hardware. But hopefully I get that remedied soon.
Of course, as soon as you do that, the flux is going to drop.
Well, but you know, it's going to stay up pretty high for at least a year.
Yeah.
If you read the prediction that K9LA put in the last bullshit,
Hey, that was a great issue, by the way.
oh, thank you. He said the flux could come up as high as or higher than it is now, as high as one of the previous cycles. I can't remember which one it was.
Well, there's a possibility that we have a double hump.
Yeah. So that's, so we should have some really good propagation for a while.
They're gonna one of the featured speakers at this year's ham convention is that space weather woman.
Oh yeah. Dr. T. Timothy Scove. She's good. She's really good.
Yeah, I saw her about 4 years ago. She was there. I would say, hey, remember me? I'm the physicist. But, I didn't get my PhD. I'm gonna ask her about a bunch of that stuff about sun.
Mhm.
I don't know about that Parker probe, see what it's revealing. She's gotta be on top of that.
Well, I see
Okay.
else slipped in.
Well, good luck. Let us know when you get your antenna up, your tower and antenna up, and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
We'll see.
maybe I can work it this time. I hear you on there on the CWTs there once in a while.
I haven't been on one in a long time,
I
but it's
know,
just
and
when I get my tower up, and then I hope to get my vertical back up soon too. It won't require much work to get it up. I've been lazy.
well, that's two of us. I tried to work some of the ARL DX, but I only got on a couple hours, but it
Yeah.
was fun. And boy, I tell you, heard everything in the world on there. You know, I worked 30 countries in 2 hours. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first Russia I've worked in quite a while too. He had the usual fading signal, the in and out signal.
Oh yeah.
Blur. Yeah.
Over the full. Yeah.
And I worked him on my OCF dipole and copied no problem at all. And that's the propagation for you.
Well, when you look at some of these contest stations, not only in the U.S. but especially overseas, it boggles the mind
It does.
what goes into those things and the money that they've spent on them. It just
Oh yeah,
boggles. Just
And one of those
you know,
Finnish stations, high altitude ones.
yeah, yeah. It's just
one of the things.
they got millions into those things.
You talk about foreign stations, but when I went to Malta with the TDXS group, and back in 2005, I guess it was, and we were in the ARL DX, but it was a sideband, and along about 4 o'clock, you could hear everything on the East Coast, and by 5 o'clock, you could hear just the big stations in the U.S. By 6 o'clock, it was all dead. But that just showed the propagation. There's some powerful stations along the East Coast.
Yeah,
Canada had a couple of them. Of course, K3LR, K3
LPL.
LPL was there, and XX was there. They were all just coming through. You could tell the big stations, they were the ones hung on another hour. But imagine, the guy that spent maybe $50,000 stayed on until 4. And if you spent $100,000, maybe you stayed on to 5. You spent $1 million, you stay on to 6. Pretty big,
Yeah,
pretty big. But that's what those guys live for. That Tim,
and they got more money than me.
Tim Duffy and Frank and those guys. That's what they live for. Well, I guess that's it. I'm about bedtime for me. So
Well, thanks a lot.
yeah,
Thanks.
Looking forward to seeing you, hearing it on the air.
me too.
I know, Alan, you want to know how I'm going to put a 50-foot tower off my balcony?
Yeah, how you gonna do that? I mean, straight out or what? Maybe up at it kind of at an angle.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Directional.
think you should get some of that hard line and run it up to
Oh,
the
God.
ceiling. I mean, to the roof of your building,
I
and
would,
put a tower up there.
if I could put an antenna up on the roof, I would gladly run the hard line up there.
Well, back in the day, many years ago, when Pat KJ5Y used to work at Exxon, he worked in the Exxon building downtown, and they had a ham station up in the upper level, one of the top floors of that building, and he invited me to come spend the night a few times. So up on the top of that building was a TH6 or a TH6DXX or something like that. I believe it was TH6. Can't remember. And so we used to get on the air, And we used to tell people running 6 elements up 200 meters. And there'd be like a silence, and they gotta come back. Do you mean 200 feet? No, it's up 200 meters. How loud am I? It was a Collins S line and a TR4 or TR7, TR7, I think. That was pretty nice. That was a lot of fun back then.
Well, I got the 200 feet, but I ain't got no 6 element beam.
Yeah, what's I'm saying? Just all you gotta do is put it up there.
Yeah.
You know,
If I could put it up there, it'd be closer to 400 feet. So
there you go, man. That'd be cool. So I got a 6 element beam up 150 meters. See what they say. The only problem with that station was that at a certain direction it was really, really noisy. But I can't remember if it was due east, due west. I don't remember what it was, and at certain times the cloud level was below the top of the building.
Oh
So
yeah.
you go over to the edge of the
can.
building and you look down and see nothing but clouds.
I used to be. You can see that looking out my window to downtown. You
Uh,
can see the clouds hanging over the top of the buildings, but I've had it. I've had them in the top of our building, right?
yeah.
But not. I'm just below the clouds.
A little inversion going on.
Yep. It's crazy. Anyways.
For the right amount of money, I'm sure they'd let you put something up there.
We just spent 1.2 million putting a new roof on it, on the 2 towers.
Did you get them? Did you get them to line that roof with radials while they were doing
nice. I think the building, the way it's, it's all reinforced concrete, and it's got, it's all that ground rods and all that stuff. I was told when they built the building, they tied all that together, make sure that it was all. So it'd be interesting. Building probably make a good radial.
Well, make a good ground anyway.
Yeah.
They probably have a good radial system. They probably have a lot of ground or lightning rods up there. It's all tied.
They do, but it's they're little, just them little pointy little suckers running, hooked up all over the place.
Well, they're mainly there just to discharge the atmosphere, not to actually take a lightning strike.
Right. Yep.
So, as a matter of fact, I was looking up at the top. I've got one on the top of my tower, although it's no longer connected to the bottom of the tower, which I need to fix. But as far as I can tell, that thing it's never taken a strike. So
they're not supposed to, supposedly.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably just discharged, and if you actually, instead of having a point, which is most of them are a point, but if you actually have it like a spread out thing like this, it's supposed to work better.
We had a drilling rig on at our training school and our test facility up in Cameron, Texas, outside of Cameron, and I've got pictures I did with the drone because we went out there, and I got the thing up my butt. We were doing other work out there, and they were talking about how much they were having to spend to send a guy up there every so often to inspect that thing. Okay, to make sure I'll have to find the pictures and show it to you sometime. But it's just it was probably about 8 foot in diameter and like a big,
Yeah. I got pictures of
sitting up on top of the drilling rig.
Yeah, I got pictures of some facilities in Chad when I made a couple trips to Chad. And Chad for like 3 months I've heard it called the lightning capital of the world for 3 months out of the year. And everything up there has got static dissipators and above everything, on top of everything. And some of the towers had those, like a cage over it like that. Yeah, I saw a lot of that stuff over there. I got pictures of that stuff somewhere. I have to look it up. It was very interesting. And everything, all of our electronic equipment, everything that would in or out of a building had to have lightning suppression, which was, over and above what we would have normally done in a standard facility. But everything had to have super critical lightning suppression on it. So, and grounding and bonding and all this. It was very interesting. But it's a good job. And I got a ham license in Chad, and I made 50 QSOs. So that's something. It wasn't a hugely successful de-expedition, but I had like 2 hours. I actually had the license at the facility where I was staying, and I had a radio that they gave me to use, but I didn't have an antenna.
Oops.
And had no way to put up an antenna. The security officer did have an antenna at the security office, but it didn't work worth the shit. So he finally took me to another camp, which had a much better antenna. And when they gave me the first radio, it was a Motorola something or other, and it was channelized, and it was all sideband, but in the European sideband segments. So it was like our CW band.
Hmm.
So in Europe, you can operate sideband down to 70-40 or something like that. But so when I told them what frequencies I actually wanted, which was, on 20 and 40 meters in our sideband portion, they programmed it up for me. I hooked it up to the antenna, and I had a nice pileup on me, stateside stations, but I didn't have much time, maybe an hour, hour and a half. And they said, "Oh, it's time to go." Shit. Well, what are you going to do? It was fun.
Well, I'm glad you got your USB thing solved.
Yeah, it was a weird one, but TV Bob says, "Yeah, I've seen this once before." And nobody else had ever seen it, had no clue. "Oh, yeah, I've seen this once before. I think I know what the problem is." Like, I should have just called him first. I bugged a lot of people about it.
Okay, gentlemen.
All right.
Thanks for stopping
Fine.
by.
Huh?
All right.
Thanks for stopping by.
See you guys later.
All right. Thank you.
Good you got to see me.
Back to the song.
Good night.
See y'all
Night.
later. 73.